All right. Well, we are here, and I'm with one of our members of the community, Jill. So Jill's been with us for how long have you been with us now, Jill?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, as you can see, she has persistence. She's done the work, and she's gone the distance with us, and she's got the results to show. But we're going to get into that here in a little bit. But she was going to jump on here with me today. Once again, in this series of videos that you're watching. you we had another interview with a gentleman that was in the community as well. So we want you to give you an opportunity to hear from other people, not just myself, the other leaders. Yes, we can always say, the community is awesome because we created the community, right? We want you to hear it from the customer's perspective, the member's perspective, and see the kind of experience they've had with us. And so, Jill, tell us a little bit, a little bit about yourself, how you got into trading, if you knew anything about trading before you met us, that kind of stuff.
So that was very loud. I homeschooled my kids. My husband and I own a construction company. So really wasn't necessarily looking for anything except as my kids got older and didn't need me as much for school, I was kind of like getting a little bored. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something I could do from home. Didn't want to get a job outside. So I was still available for the kids, but just started doing some, ways to make money from home. Google search ways to make money from home. I
Yeah,
didn't want to sell stuff and I didn't want to have to recruit a bunch of people and keep that all up. That's just not my type of, some people are really good at it. That's not me.
right.
And so I actually heard about Forex and there was another guy that I was following for a while and he was doing more like signals, which is like, hey, that's great, but I'm not learning anything. Like, awesome. But yeah, and then if he wasn't around and it just wasn't that great. And then I stumbled on one of your ads. I think it was Facebook or Instagram. I can't
Yep.
remember which one, probably Facebook.
Right.
And messaged you probably like 100 times, asking you all sorts of questions,
Sure, sure.
clarifying everything, and then just yeah, decided to give it a try and yeah, never looked back. 2.5 years later, and here I am.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us, I had forgotten that you homeschool your kids. I was homeschooled my entire life as well until I went to college, and I had a great experience. So I always appreciate people that do that as well. But it is a full-time job, no doubt. So
It definitely is. And I said there was no way I could have done this when they were younger.
yeah,
And I graduated one, and my youngest is a senior. So this year, so definitely at the like they don't need me anymore
right, right,
for school. For
yeah,
school.
yeah,
They need
exactly.
my money yet. They still need my money.
Absolutely. But yeah, so but even now you're probably stay pretty busy. So are
Yeah.
the strategies that we use in the community, are they feasible with a full-time family like you have and homeschooling your kids and busy running around? Like is there something that can work
Yeah.
for people that are busy? That's a common.
Totally. I do, two of them. I like the scalping strategy, but the 71, like if you don't have a lot of time
Mhm.
and you just have, maybe a half an hour a day to sit down and look at some charts and that kind of thing, then, the 71 strategy is definitely feasible for anybody with a little amount of time. And even the scalping strategy, if you have even an hour to a day, you can, probably grab something. Not every day, obviously. There's not a trade every single day. That was one thing that took me a while to learn.
Yep, absolutely.
You sit there for hours and be like, am I missing something?
Right, right.
Yes, definitely.
Cool,
I
cool.
think there's something for everybody.
Perfect. Yeah, and I agree
That
100%.
everybody that's willing to put in the work, you still nothing's handed to you.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, that you bring up is this is not, there's nothing out there. I mean, like you mentioned earlier with signals, even with signals, there's no guarantee that that's going to, I have yet in my, career of almost 8 years now trading is met anyone who just took signals and became, financially free doing that. I've yet to see it. Not saying it doesn't exist, but I personally have yet to see that. But it's always best to learn the skill yourself. And it's not going to happen overnight. You got to put in the time, you got to put in, you got to take the trades.
Yeah.
You can't take 100 trades in a day. It's just not feasible. So you have to take the trades that meet the criteria and you need to journal them and then review them. And that takes a little bit of time. And some people who have that get rich quick mentality, they just say, oh, this doesn't
That,
work.
yeah, it's not going to work.
Right. And
No, and I think the biggest thing with signals, so, and what, I mean, like I said, I had that one guy. I didn't really pursue him because I knew that wasn't the style. I was looking for something. I needed to learn something. Signals aren't going to do me any good
right.
if the signal provider disappears.
Yep.
But the mindset thing is a big thing that you don't get with any of that because you might lose 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 trades in a row and be like, this is it. I'm done. I quit.
Right. Yep.
Where if you don't realize that it's just all part of now you might have 20 winners in a row and you're still ahead.
Yep. Yeah. And that's a good point too, is the mindset. I mean, I have a video in this series already on mindset, but what's been your experience with growing your trading mindset inside of our community? Do we harp on that? Do we help you kind of, accumulate that, or not? That's not a word I'm really looking for, nurture that.
Well, yeah, I think yes, like the book recommendations. I like to read. So that was always it's like, oh, okay, another book. But I've read some of these books like Trading in the Zone, Obstacle is the Way, um, and even just not even trading, like you would recommended the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was really good. I've read that a couple of
Awesome.
times. I've read Trading in the Zone a couple of times. Like I keep reading them,
Yeah.
and every time I read them, especially Trading in the Zone, um, there's something new. The first time I read it, I will not lie, it was like, this is boring. Like this is very, very boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Absolutely.
was at the very beginning of my whole journey, and then as I got into it and I read it again, it was like, oh, okay. And now I even have it on audiobook and I'll play it when I'm driving around sometimes.
Yep.
So definitely mindset and having the whole community like Jason does his Monday call.
Mhm.
And even in the Discord, when you're in there and you take a loss, everybody else in there's like, oh, yeah, whatever it is, moving on, next one. You
Yep.
don't feel quite like, oh, am I doing something wrong? It took me a while to figure out that just because I lost didn't mean I was doing something wrong.
Yep.
You're still going to take losses no matter what the market gives you. If you tell me you have 100% win rate, I will call you a liar.
Absolutely. I mean, that's massive too, because that is the problem. What happens with most new traders, or not really even necessarily new, but traders in general, they get to inevitably a string of losses, which is going to happen in anybody's trading career.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to jump to the next thing. And then they start all over. And then what happens? They get maybe a little hot streak, and then they get into a losing streak, and then they start over again. And that's what we try to keep you focused here is, you're seeing everybody in our community, like she said, there's a couple different strategies that most people are using. We have chats in our Discord community for that.
Mm-hmm.
Every single morning, people are trading those strategies together. So if we're trading the same strategy, we're using the same scanner, we're probably going to see the same trades, right?
And
So
to me, the whole Discord thing, it's kind of, I don't know, fun is the right word, but it is kind of fun. Like you get in there in the morning and you've got like your little friends that you're you're
exactly.
sitting with for a couple of hours. Because if you
Yeah,
didn't have that, trading is lonely.
it
I
is.
mean, just sitting by yourself, it would be lonely. So you have these discussions with people in the Discord. I've never met any of them personally. I've
Right.
talked to a lot of them,
Yep.
but never met any of them. But you feel like you've all got, yeah, like that family, like we always say, the ATH family,
Yep.
because it is, you're kind of just all in there and supporting each other. And all that was lost, or now I wouldn't take that one. And then you kind of look at it again. But I think that being said, everybody does have a little bit different trade plan. So for me, that was like, nope, I don't care if they're taking that one. It doesn't meet my trade plan. I'm not doing it.
Yep. Absolutely. And
Because
that's a
what
good
will
point.
happen is that trade will win, and
Right.
then I'll tweak my trade plan, or it will lose, and then I'll be like, see, that's why I should have done that.
That's a good point, because that's what we do. We have the strategy itself. We have a few different quality control criteria that you can choose to add to it. Now, there's a couple give and takes to that, right? If you make your strategy super strict, or your trade plan, I should say, super strict, you're going to take less trades, but
You will have one trade per week.
right, but they're going to be higher
But
quality, and typically your
right.
win rate's going to be a little bit higher, right? Some people, even though they're going to have more winners, they can't handle it. They feel like they need to be doing something every day. So, we give you those options that, okay, maybe you'll take a few more trades and you could still have those winners, but you're probably going to take a few losers along the way too. So it kind of depends on where your mindset is as far as,
Right.
do you want just higher win rate, less trades, or are you looking for, I want some action and I'm okay to take the occasional loss, right? But
Hmm.
that's perfect. You know, we're all in there, we're winning together, we lose together
Yep.
as well. And it shows you don't need to jump to something else. You're not doing something wrong. You don't need to scrap everything. It's just part of the market. I'm not going to go into detail in that anymore because I have it in that trading mindset video in this
Yep.
series of videos. But you know, losses are inevitable in the market. So you don't need to jump to the next shiny object because you took some losses. So that's a good point.
And I think at least the way the system, the strategies that we use, if you use them like we have all like in the process document,
Mhm.
you're still going to have losses, but they should be a lot less if you're following the recommendations of, you know, you don't, there are going to be some days that you don't take a trade, and
Yep,
that's okay. And there
absolutely.
will be some days where you have like five.
Yeah, you're man, you're going to be moving
You
so
don't know
fast
what way
you
to
keep up.
turn. It's like I have multiple monitors and I'll be like, okay, which one are we looking at?
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and it's in the beginning, of course, that could be a little overwhelming, but as you progress,
Hmm.
get more used to it, you're going to see it becomes like second nature. And just like you said, you'll get to know the names in the Discord. You'll find your little buddies, almost kind of like your trading partners, and
Yep.
very powerful. So. Well, cool. Well, I don't want to make this too long. I want to value everybody's time. So kind of tell us, with through the training, are you happy with where you are as a trader? I mean, obviously, we're all of us, including myself, has been trading for 8 years. I'm never going to say I've gotten to the finish line, right? I'm always trying to continue to hone my craft. But have you gotten value from our community? Have you, gotten to the point
Absolutely.
you're happy?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. No, totally. And yeah, like you said, I think there's always like on the weekends, I'll review my journal. When I started, it was smart money.
Right.
And I have a hard time unseeing some of those, even with the scalping. Like,
Sure.
okay, I won't say it like in the Discord, but it's hard to unsee some of
Yep.
what I know from that.
Yep, for sure. And sometimes that
But
helps you, sometimes it hurts you, right? It's like,
there are
sometimes it's
times
so
it's like,
much
okay, if we're not doing this, this is not a smart money. We're not doing, nope, nope. Talk yourself out of it. But definitely the community. And I think there's always, in my book, there's always room for growth, always room for, you know, you might have one little thing that, somebody might say something on one of the calls or even in Discord and be like, oh, you start looking at that and then I'm going to try that on my next trade block and see if that, makes any kind of difference. And, there's always room for growth.
Yep.
But I definitely would not be where I am without the whole community because I'm certain I would have given up by now if
Right.
I didn't have everybody encouraging everybody else. And
Yep.
yeah, it is. It's great.
Awesome. Awesome. So to wrap this up, for people that are looking at the community, maybe they're about to become part of the community or they're still trying to decide, what kind of advice, let's look at it both ways. Like if somebody's from the outside looking in and they're still trying to make a decision whether they want to be part of our community, what would you say to them? And then on the other flip side, if somebody is new to our community, what's a good piece of advice that you could give them?
So for somebody who's thinking about joining, I mean, obviously my experience has been great. I would encourage everyone to at least, if nothing else, give it a try.
Mhm.
See what it's like, see what's in there. Um, I honestly don't know. I think when I joined, you had like 7 days
Yep, you
that
do.
you
You
could
still do.
check it out, uh, check it out, see what we're all about. I really think I don't know anywhere where you're going to find support like you get even from the leaders and from just everybody else in the community. And for people who are just joining, follow the process sheet. I'm not joking. Like I seriously have it out. I still 2.5 years later, I still look at it, follow your rules, follow your trade plan, journal. They're not joking. Journal, review your journal.
Yep.
Send it in to David 14 times. He would like to review.
I will review it. Maybe not 14 times. No, I'll review it. But
No, that was, the biggest thing for me was the community, the leaders, they've done this. They know they've got it dialed in. Just follow the process sheet, do it in the order. It's going to take some time and it's going to take some work, but you will get there.
awesome. Awesome. Well, I think that about sums it up. I can't say much better than that. So hopefully for everybody that's watching, you got a lot of value out of this. You kind of saw it from a different perspective. And both of us, Jill and myself, we look forward to helping you on the inside. All right.
Mhm.
Jill, thanks for jumping
Okay.
on here with me. I appreciate it. And we'll see
Yeah,
everybody
no
next time.
problem.
Bye.